Yo, everyone, welcome back again. I'm live again as we're doing the very first ever OGR of the year, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm pretty excited to talk about this one. We got a pretty good amount of stuff to talk about. It was a pretty good game. I mean, it was meh. It really kind of was a meh game. The Edmonton Oilers really did dominate throughout most of this game. From start to finish, I thought they were the better team without a doubt. But near that end of the game, they just stopped playing. For some reason, they just let the Vancouver Canucks kind of walk back into the game, and it just ended up not being a very good game. I mean, it got tied up at 2. The Oilers did fight back with Kyle Turris somehow getting a shootout goal who saved us, but even though he wasn't really playing good throughout majority of the game anyways. But before I get into that, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, guys, make sure to stop that subscribe button and hit that like button as well if you're watching this back. We do, live streams, not every day, but most of the Oilers games I will be doing a live OGR, so make sure to stay tuned after the Oilers game, because I'll be doing a little live Oilers game reaction for you guys. Since I'm working full time, I'm not going to have a lot of time to record, a little special episode for the OGR. So this is kind of the way to give it back and, do something a little bit easier. So let's get right into the review in this game, and we'll just get right into it. We're not going to wait any further. We're not going to wait any longer. And it was a good shootout there, Oilers, man. It really was. So let's get right into the game. Now, first of all, the lineups for the Edmonton Oilers were kind of questionable. I had some kind of question marks with the lineups. I was not a big fan of the top line, Leon Draisaitl, McDavid, and Puljujarvi. Now, they didn't play that bad. Honestly, they had a decent night, but the problem is with stacking your lineup like that with 2 of your best players up on the top line, it's not always the greatest idea. I always said that even during the last year's OGRs, that I really like when we spread the wealth around a little bit. And I know that we had a weaker winger core. Now we have a stronger winger core, and Hyman played fantastic tonight. I give that to him. Hyman, Nuge, and Yamamoto played a really good night all night long, and I absolutely enjoyed that lineup. But I would even enjoy it more if I seen Hyman, McDavid, Puljujarvi, and then Yamamoto, Draisaitl, and Nuge on the second line. I just think spreading the wealth is going to be a lot better, because then for other teams going into their game plan, they're not just going to have to focus on that one line. They're going to have to focus on 2 lines that have 2 great all-stars in McDavid and Draisaitl. Without a doubt, I thought that was the way that we should have went with our lineups. Our depth was a bit questionable too. Kyle Turris had a really rough night. I wasn't a big fan of Kyle Turris all night long, up until the shootout where he scored the shootout winning goal, which absolutely blew my mind. So like we usually do, let's get into recapping the goals and all that stuff and get into reviewing that. So right off the get-go, Jesse Puljujarvi got the first goal of the game. And man, I was jumping up and down to see this one, because I absolutely love to see, Jesse Puljujarvi score goals. And, I love the man. Every time he scores a goal, he has just the biggest grin on his face, and it fills me with joy when I see him score. And already starting off the year with a big goal, he was right in front of the net, taking a nice shot when Darnell Nurse took a beautiful shot in the net, created a big juicy rebound for Jesse Puljujarvi, who was just standing there. No one was around him. He was just standing there in front of the net with a big old smile and just potted right back in the net, and that created the first goal for the Edmonton Oilers, and it was absolute hype. And then we get into the second period. Not a lot happened in the rest of the first period, and I thought the first period was really good for the Edmonton Oilers. I liked a lot of what the Edmonton Oilers were doing. We were generating a lot of momentum. It was a really fast-paced game, and that was the biggest thing that I enjoyed about this game, is that the entire time I was doing play-by-play for it, it was really entertaining from top to bottom. Every second of this game was enjoyable. It was fast-paced. It was back and forth. It wasn't boring, and that's the thing that I really enjoyed about this Edmonton Oilers team, is that we're going to see a lot of enjoying games. And that's why I called this video Welcome to the Edmonton Oilers Gong Show, because it really is going to be like that this year. We're going to see a lot of games like this where the team is going to march back in, and we're going to have to battle back. It's going to be a lot of goal scoring through a lot of these games, and that's just how the Edmonton Oilers team is built this year. We're an offensive powerhouse. I don't know how well it'll do in the playoffs, but this regular season, we're going to be seeing a lot of goals this year. And then moving into the second period, I thought the first half of the period wasn't too bad for the Edmonton Oilers. It definitely wasn't the greatest. It was definitely even between both of the teams. But, you know, Zach Hyman got a huge power play goal for the Edmonton Oilers, and it was a beautiful one. I got to give it this one. This was absolutely beautiful. McDavid set up Draisaitl, and then Draisaitl set up Hyman right in front of the net, and all he had to do is just tap it in. Just tapped it in a little bit and went right into the back of the net, and it was an absolute beautiful goal there for the Edmonton Oilers, and we went up 2-0. I'm already thinking this is a great start to the season. We're playing really good. You know, we're not playing too bad defensively. We're making a few bad defensive mistakes until it all went wrong in the third period, and we continue taking dumb penalties, which that was the biggest thing out of this game, is that we took a lot of dumb penalties throughout the entire game. The second period is where it got really bad. I think we took a few. McLeod took a dumb slashing penalty. Derek Ryan got cross-checked. Scrivio got into a fighting penalty, which Duncan Keith absolutely got leveled. He got smoked in the second period, absolutely steamrolled by Tyler Myers, so Scrivio stepped up for him and dropped the gloves. It wasn't really even a fight. Myers kind of took him down on the ground. No punches were really landed, but my lord, was it a huge hit there on Duncan Keith. Busted him right on open, but he did return back in the game. But Duncan Keith should have kept his head up. He went into the corner, not checking the rearview mirror, and Tyler Myers just steamrolled right over him. And then Connor Garland got a too many men, but that doesn't matter for us. And then Zach Hyman got a dumb holding penalty. And then the third period is where it really gets dumb. We took a lot of bad penalties in the third period. I thought we didn't play very good, and I thought we could have played a lot better in the third period, without a doubt. This is where things kind of started going bad for us. Oliver Ekman-Larsson got the goal on the power play, which this was the dumbest penalty by Tyson Barrie. I could not believe, and I said this in the play-by-play, you could go back during the time, and I said that, you know, this is a big opportunity for the Vancouver Canucks on the power play, and we need to stop taking a penalty. And of course, Tyson Barrie took a dumb tripping penalty, which he didn't need to. He didn't need to have his skate or his stick were, you know, in the skates of Connor Garland. Connor Garland was on the outside, and it was just plain and simple to Tyson Barrie just to keep him on the outside. That's all Barrie needed to do. That's all he needed to do. But no. Barrie had this jam his stick right on in the skates and trip down Connor Garland, and there we go, penalty. And the Vancouver Canucks go on the power play, and they weren't generating a whole lot on the power play throughout the entire game until Oliver Ekman-Larsson got the puck and shot it right into the back of the net, and it kind of stung. You know, you're sitting there, you're saying that, you know, this is a big power play for the Vancouver Canucks, and it certainly was, and this put the momentum right back in the Vancouver's hands. And then a few minutes later, Quinn Hughes got a very nice goal, a tight corner shot there on Mike Smith, a save that, you know, Mike Smith should have. You know, he wasn't really hugging the post, and he had a hole wide open, and, you know, Quinn Hughes seen that, and he took the opportunity to shoot it right in that tiny little hole and put it right in the back of the net to tie the game up at 2. And now we head into overtime. Nothing really happens in overtime, and then we get to the shootout. And of course, my man Dave Tippett decides to send out Tyson Barrie as the third shooter, which blows my mind completely, because I'm thinking the entire game Tyson Barrie has not been looking very good. Every time he handles the puck, he bobbles it. Every time he makes a deke, he bobbles it. He just doesn't look very good out there. And we throw him out there, guess what he did? He bobbled the damn puck. He went forehand and in backhand, lost the puck. And I'm like, oh my lord, this is where we lose. This is where we lose. But no, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins got a goal. Connor Garland also missed right after that, but Nuge got a goal. And this was the guy that I thought should have been the guy that took the shot. And then Bo Horvat took the next one. He scored. And then our next shooter was Kalaturis, which I was like, oh no, we threw out Kalaturis. He was playing bad all night long. I was not very impressed with him. He goes out there and scores a huge goal for the Edmonton Oilers to give us the win in the shootout. And that ends the game for the Edmonton Oilers, and we walk away with the Game 1 victory, which I was very happy about. I was very, very happy about to see the Edmonton Oilers win in Game 1. But there's a lot of pros and cons to this team. Lots to kind of go over with this game, and penalties are one of them. That's the kind of the first thing I wanted to go over, is that we took a lot of dumb penalties throughout this entire game. Tyson Barrie with the dumbest one of them all. In the third period, you cannot be taking penalties like that. And also Chris Russell, what are you doing, bro? Pushing a man into Mike Smith was absolutely just pissed me off. As a defenseman myself, I don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing when a defenseman decides that they're just going to nail a player right into their goalie. That's dumb. That was a bad move by Chris Russell, and he shouldn't have pushed Tanner Pearson into the goalie. That Mike Smith could have handled that. You know, if Pearson got a shot off, Mike Smith would have been able to handle that. But pushing him into that creates even a bigger risk. We don't need Mike Smith getting injured, especially at the start of the season like this. We do not need to lose our starting goalie at the beginning of the season, and I thought that was a seriously bad move by Chris Russell. And also Tyson Barrie, we already kind of talked about that. It was a bad penalty, shouldn't have been taken, and it was just dumb. It shouldn't have happened. Bo Horvat also got a penalty on Leon Draisaitl there with the last couple seconds there as well. Zach Hyman also didn't need to take that holding penalty as well. We did kill it off, but still, we need to clean up on the penalties. We can't be taking that many dumb penalties. So now we'll kind of get into the lineups. We'll kind of review each lineup, talk about the pros and cons of every lineup. We'll talk about the first line, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Puljujarvi. Of course, Puljujarvi got the first goal of the game, and I really liked how Puljujarvi played. I liked how that entire line played. I thought they did all right, but I feel like it's going to be better if we split them up. I really do have that. They should split it up. They should play on a separate line, McDavid and Draisaitl, because you know, Vancouver was focusing on that line. Every time that line came out there, they were making sure McDavid and Draisaitl had a man on them. Miller was on McDavid. Draisaitl, you know, he had somebody else on him. But every time those guys were out there, Pettersson and Miller were out there every single time covering McDavid and Draisaitl. And see, that's the biggest problem. If you split them up, you don't really have that problem. Sometimes McDavid is able to catch, you know, somebody that's not that good out there. Maybe he's able to catch Matthew Highmore, or maybe he's able to catch Tucker Pullman out there and able to get past them, you know? It's a better idea to split those two guys up, because then it spreads the wealth a little bit. And I know the second line looked amazing, and I'll get that. Zach Hyman, Nuge, Yamamoto looked absolutely amazing throughout the entire night, and I absolutely loved that line top to bottom. And then moving on, I really liked the third line as well. Ryan, I liked Fogle was a kind of an energy player. He actually generated a good amount of chances center in front of the net. I thought he did pretty good. The fourth line was where I had some problems. I thought Kyle Turris played atrociously. I really did not like him the entire night, and for some reason Dave Tippett threw him out there with the last minute remaining, and it still mind boggles me why Dave Tippett does the stuff that he does and why he threw out Turris with the last couple seconds remaining in the game. He can't play defense apparently, and he's not reliable. He's not a reliable player, and we threw him out there with the last few seconds remaining in the game, and I thought that was a very dumb move. Perlini and McLeod I didn't mind, but they really didn't get a lot of ice time. They really didn't play a whole lot. And then also getting on to the defensemen, I know this is going to be surprising, but I did not mind Keith and Ceci. They actually didn't play that bad. And you know why? Because they played a good amount of minutes. Keith played 15 and Ceci played 16. They played the minutes that they should be playing as defensemen. And I said that when we picked up Duncan Keith, because I was worried that we were going to play him 20 minutes. And we didn't. We actually didn't end up playing Keith 20 minutes. We only played him 15 minutes. And I like that for Duncan Keith. He's not a guy that's going to play 20 minutes. He's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to play very well. He's an older guy now. He's not going to have the legs as he used to be. And playing him at those lower minutes is the better idea for Duncan Keith, without a doubt. But they didn't do that bad. I thought they played very well defensively. They did have a tough time getting the puck out of their own zone sometimes. So, and that's something that they had a problem during the preseason. And I feel like there's definitely going to be a decent amount of goals against on them throughout the year. But I don't feel like they're going to be a bad offensive pairing. I feel like Keith, he stepped up good at some moments at times. Wasn't too bad defensively, but he did get decked by Tyler Myers. So maybe that's why he had a little bit less minutes as well. Bouchard looked pretty good. No complaints there, but he did play 22 minutes, and every time he was out there, I noticed him, and he looked pretty good. He was making some nice passes. I really didn't make any noticeable mistakes throughout the night. And at Darnell Nurse and Tyson Barrie, Nurse played 32 minutes, which is just absolutely mad, and I give it to Nurse. Nurse didn't play the worst game in the world. Tyson Barrie was kind of, you know, a little bit worse, but they weren't fantastic to pairing, you know. Barry had kind of an off night tonight, which hopefully, you know, I don't know really what to expect. You guys know me. I'm not a big fan of Barry, and it's not the greatest, you know. It's tough to describe Barry sometimes. Usually I freak out about him majority of the time during these videos, and every time he was out there, he didn't do that bad offensively. I give it to Barry. Barry wasn't doing that bad offensively throughout the night. I feel like he has improved himself a little bit, with players being on his back, because a lot of times he loses those puck battles where a player's clawing all over him, and he didn't lose a lot of those puck battles, and I quite like that. But throughout the game, once it kind of progressed more and more, Barry's making some really dumb turnovers, the dumb tripping penalty. There was a lot of dumb mistakes by Tyson Barrie that needs to be cleaned up, and he needs to play a lot smarter. But we're probably not going to get that from Tyson Barrie. He's still going to make those bad defensive mistakes, because this Nurse and Barrie pairing shouldn't be a pairing, but we're going to be getting it most likely for the next 3 years, which it frustrates me sometimes. But the Nurse and Barrie pairing weren't bad. Nurse stepped up a lot, taking a lot of bad step-ups where he, tries to go for the big hit, which he had a lot of hits on the night. 8 hits on the night, which is just absolutely nuts. But not a bad night for, the defense, but, we're going to see a lot of goals no matter what. The defense, they made some mistakes that they need to clean up, but it wasn't terrible. I was more impressed than what I thought the defense was going to be. I thought this was going to be, 6-5. I thought there was going to be a lot more goals. Keith and Cece surprised me. They were really good. Nurse and Barrie, I think they need to step up. Nurse wasn't too bad. I thought he played a decent night. Barrie needs to stop taking dumb penalties and needs to stop turning over the puck. Bouchard and Russell, I don't have really any complaints on him. He played really well defensively, but for the bad penalty that he took on the cross-check in there on Tanner Pearson. Evan Bouchard, no complaints on him. And Mike Smith is a god once again, man. He was making saves left and right. He made a beautiful 36 saves on the night. He was everything for the team. He kept the team really in this game, especially when Vancouver really started pouring on the shots. And I love that Pulley Harvey's playing on the power play. I don't have to complain about the power play this year, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! That's a big dub. That's a big dub this year. I don't have to complain about the power plays this year. Excuse me, because we have Zach Hyman and Jesse Pugliarvi playing on the power play this year, so I am quite happy about that. But I think I covered just about everything about this Oilers game. Oilers man says, luckily CC didn't sign for 7 years. And also Just Incredible says, Canucks fan here. Good game, Oilers fan. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Loved my team's resilience, but I'll take the single point. Yeah, without a doubt. It was a fun game, without a doubt. And I hope you guys enjoyed the little OGR. This is the way that the OGRs are going to be done throughout the season. I know they're going to be a little late for you guys. That's why you'll be able to watch them later on tomorrow. So whenever you wake up, you can watch the video over again. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I think that's basically all I got to cover. The Oilers went 3-2. At least we pulled away with the W. We need to really clean up a lot of things, though. But it's only the first game of the year, so we'll see what happens on Saturday as we go up against the Calgary Flames. And I'll be live once again, so make sure to check that out, as I'll be live at 7 p.m. Pacific, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure to check that out on Saturday night, baby. Good old Saturday night hockey between the Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all later.